Well, guys, I want to kick off tonight's call in a few minutes, so I'm going to give you guys all a chance to send out last-minute messages and to other people and text messages or Facebook posts. My name, again, is Kelvin Santana. I am the Body by Vi Project 10 National Weight Loss Champion 2014, and we have an exciting call for tonight. And as we are about to get started here in a few minutes, please reach out to a couple more people, get them on the call. They don't want to miss out on tonight's call. Tonight's topic is going to be a pretty big one for a lot of us who will be sharing on this call. And for those of you who just got on, every Tuesday night on Transformation Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we host the Hope Call. It was created by TeamViHOPE. It's basically a group of members of the 100-Pound Club that decided to do something to pay it forward to their friends and family and pretty much to the world in large. We're here to help people and to make sure that, we are continuing our own education with each other's stories and also tips and motivation and inspiration. So tonight, I'm about to kick off the call here in about 30 seconds. So make sure to get a couple more people on the call. I have a couple people texting me right now. And yes, I'm on the call. All right, so we'll go started now in about 10 more seconds. And we have liftoff. Well, guys, I want to go ahead and start off with my story. Basically, for those of you who don't know, again, my name is Kelvin, and I am from Orlando, Florida. About 2.5 years ago, I was, well, actually now it's 37 months. I was sitting on my sofa in my house, and basically I had an incident which changed my life. My 2-year-old daughter was playing on the sofa, and she was getting a little adventurous and just jumped off the couch. I was sitting on the sofa seeing everything like in slow motion, and I tried to get up as fast as I could to get to her, but at being over 320 pounds, I really couldn't get up from the sofa that quickly. In fact, I ended up having to lay on my side and roll onto the floor and start crawling to her. She had hit her face on our tile floor in in our living room, and my wife, who was 8.5 months pregnant, was sleeping in the next room, woke up when she heard me screaming for help. As I struggled to get to her, my wife actually got to her before I could, and thank God to this day that she was okay. But while she was crying and stuff, I just pretty much gave up all my excuses, and I said I needed something to change. I remember praying, and a couple more days later, a couple people at my church approached me and told me about the challenge. I basically joined about a couple weeks after that, and in my first 90 days, I lost over 50 pounds. I was so excited. I decided to keep going. I went to an event, and I saw people on stage on the 100-Pound Club at a national event, and I was inspired to keep going. And sure enough, less than a year after I started, about 10 months in, I had lost over 100 pounds, and I was crossing the finish line of a tough 13-mile race, a Tough Mudder, proving to myself that nothing's impossible, and it owe it all to the Project 10 Challenge. Along the way, I was able to help out lots of kids and inspire other people as well. And I'm so grateful for the opportunity that I have every single day to have a platform that I can change lives. And guys, that's what we're here tonight to do. And the next few people that I'm going to be having tonight, we're going to be talking a topic called failing forward. Failing forward. We all talk about failure in our lives, or at least experience failure. We don't like maybe to talk about it. But tonight, we have 4 brave people that are going to be sharing their story, and then I'm going to be asking them questions as well. So Kathy Eschelman is our first guest for tonight. She's a proud member of the 100-Pound Club, and I just want to have you share your story for a couple minutes.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. It's quite an honor to be here. Many of you know I just reached 100 pounds on June 28th, and by far it's one of those days like getting married and having a baby. It's a day I'll never forget. I'll never forget waking up early, just wondering if this was the day, because I thought it might be, and I was up like at 5 in the morning on a Sunday morning. Nobody was up, and I remember just actually taking time to enjoy it myself. And ran outside and took a selfie just so I could post it. I was so excited to share it with the world. And all my friends who had been great, wonderful supporters, it's just been awesome. I couldn't have done it without everybody. My story is I lost the first 57 pounds in 2013. I started the challenge in May of 12 by placing the order and kind of just doing a few shakes here and there, but never really was committed to it. And in January of 13, I made my New Year's resolution to do it. I lost 57 pounds with no exercise. In hindsight, I didn't know that I didn't feel like exercising. The next year in 14, I lost another 30 pounds, and I found a class. I love dancing, and I found a class called Work, W-E-R-Q. Highly recommend you find it in your neighborhood if you can and check it out. It's a dance class to all the hottest songs, so my daughter and I can dance together now, and I show her all the great moves. Then this January, I found a trainer who actually kind of found me at the fitness club and taught me how to lift weights and taught me how important it was for continued weight loss and strength. And that really changed my fitness life significantly. One of the beautiful things about my mom, who unfortunately died in March from cancer, was that she gave me a great sense of confidence and a kind of a big ego, maybe a little bigger than it needed to be. I'm from Texas originally, so it might go hand in hand with that. And so I never really saw myself as overweight. I look back at those pictures and I think, wow, I had a vivid imagination. But I'm from Texas. I always had big hair, big makeup. I just looked in the mirror and thought, oh, that looks fabulous. So over my last part of the story, other than hitting the 100 pounds on June 28th, is the excitement that I have that just the people that I've had join me on the challenge the last 2 months, it's just been a handful of people. They've lost over 70 pounds. I just kind of put this together over the weekend, and I can't, of all the things it's done for me, nothing makes me feel better than realizing I've helped other people lose 70 pounds in the last couple of months.
That's incredible, Kathy. I know that's why we do what we do. Once we lost it, we want to help others by paying it forward. To enjoy, I loved how you said it, that you woke up that morning and it was like a day that you'll never forget, like having a baby or getting married. I told my wife, I actually took a photo and I was crossing the finish line on a Tough Mudder, and that ended up being the day I lost 100 pounds. And my wife says, I haven't seen you that happy since our wedding day. So I definitely agree with that. Kathy, you have an amazing story. You can keep on persevering over a time period. But now you're a certified work instructor, correct?
That's correct. I did that.
And you basically joined the 100-pound club in your 50s. I know I've always heard by some of my older customers that it seems to be harder to lose weight. Was this a factor at all in your journey?
Well, I think the hardest part of that really was that all the other times when I tried, I don't think I took time to understand myself and know who I was. And I think one of the benefits of actually being older and beginning to actually take on this fitness and health journey are a couple things. One, I realized who I am. I actually had to face the fact that over 250 pounds at 5'2", I'm a very short person, not 6'2", 5'2", I really had to face the fact that I don't make good food choices. I think that's why the challenge works so great for me, because one thing I love about it is it takes out those choices, but it takes out those choices in a way with great tasting shakes that I can make any flavor in the world I want. 99% of the time I make a chocolate shake. But who doesn't love to eat chocolate? At least I certainly do. So I think you need to take the time to know who you are. I remember my 52nd birthday, I was probably a little bit over halfway through my journey, and I was in this work dance class, and it's so much fun. It's like you're just dancing for an hour. Sometimes I just put my mind on fun zone and pretend like I'm in a nightclub dancing and have a blast. But I had a dream on that 52nd birthday, and I even told the class of my teacher, I said, and I remember I was still about 50 or 60 pounds heavier than I am now, and I said, I'm going to teach one of these classes one day. And so in May, another big day for me was when I got certified, that now I'm just waiting for my final certification to come through, and I hope to be teaching a class in October.
Congratulations. That's amazing.
Yeah, I think you do have to realize after 50 it's a lifestyle change. one last little bit was I went through kind of a big journey this summer, and that several of the people who had trained me, my trainer, my dance instructor, and even my mom, and my mom passed away. My two trainers left to go follow their life dreams, which is awesome. And I prayed a lot about it because I just couldn't figure out why God had brought me all these tools, and now I felt like I was taking them away from me. And what I realized is that God brought those people to me to teach me that I could do it on myself, and then in some way took them away. Also, Bill's back. I'm very excited to do my training, but I think it really proved to me that, guess what, I really can do this on my own now.
Wow. And, that's actually one of the hardest lessons for people to learn is to do it for themselves. And thank you so much, Kathy, for sharing tonight. We're going to hopefully come back by the end if we have time. And thank you for sharing. I want to go ahead and now move on to our next guest, ladies and gentlemen. One of my great friends in Vi, a person who's worked really hard, and I admire very much with what he's able to accomplish throughout his journey. And that is Mr. Dave Morgan. Are you on the line?
Hey, buddy, I'm here. Thank you so very much for inspiring and for being there for so many of us. Folks, my name's Dave Morgan. My wife and I are in Louisville, Kentucky. We started our challenge just a little over 3 years ago, 3 years ago last month. And when we started this out, I was 310 pounds. I was 60 inches around the belly. I'm only 5'9", so I kind of had that Santa Claus thing look-alike going on. I kind of joked that every time my wife and I would take a trip that we would pop the air mattress. And it wasn't because we were having so much fun. It's because we were so daggone fat. Never realized there was big limits on air mattresses until you look fat. But I started off, like I say, 110 pounds, grade 3 morbid obese, and to me that equated to deathly fat. And that was, for me, a very harsh reality because my doctor never talked to me about it. It was up to me to see that on my permanent medical record and start doing some digging and some research to figure out what that meant. And what it equated to was dying early, which is exactly what my dad had done when he died on his 56th birthday from complications of diabetes and heart disease. And I got really, really tired of looking in the mirror and seeing my dad. Because I was the only, out of the 4 kids, I'm the only one that looks like him, is built like him, and sounds like him. I can't sing quite as good as him, but I can give it my best shot. But I got really tired of looking in that mirror and thinking, man, that my wife deserves better. There's no reason that for us to have only been married for, at that point, less than 10 years, 7 years for us, there was no reason that I should be trying to purposely take my life away. And that's what I was doing. It was purposeful. Whether it was mindful or not, it was purposeful. Because all the nasty things that I put in my system were what was killing me. And I just never thought about it. So we hopped on the challenge. First 90 days, drinking 2 Butterfinger milkshakes a day and eating that one meal a day that I wanted, I dropped 41 pounds with no exercise. And I'm like, man, this is great. We can do this. So fast forward to today, I've lost 105 pounds, 150 pounds total for my wife and I. I've participated in, at this point, I don't even keep track anymore, countless 5Ks, 10Ks, 10-mile races, half marathons. The one I'm most proud of is having participated in Ironman just about a year ago. So needless to say, Vitalis has 100% turned our life around and given it back to us.
That's amazing, Dave. And one of the things that, after you reached the 100-pound club, you decided to train for Ironman Louisville. And I know that you had some struggles with being able to finish that race a little bit. I want you to explain to us a little bit about your 2 biggest failing forward moments while training and going through that experience.
Well, so the first big failing forward moment was getting past the fear of the swim. Because unlike a lot of people, I didn't learn how to swim as a kid. And so here I was, 43 years old, knowing that I had to be able to do a 2.4-mile swim in the Ohio River, 9/10 of a mile upstream and 1.5 miles downstream. And so, as with every obstacle that I'd encountered along my journey, there was people that God placed in my pathway that said, this is who you need to be hooking up with. And it's amazing that the tri community is much like our Vi family in that they're phenomenally supportive and incredibly there for you. So number one was the fear to get over that swim. And even 3 weeks before the event was the first time that I had ever swam longer than a mile. And I had just done that the week before. So literally in a month, I went from swimming, my first time swimming a mile, to 4 weeks later swimming 2.4 in the Ohio, and following that up with a 112-mile bike ride and a marathon. The second failing forward moment was the actual race day, because 20 miles into the bike ride, my left IT band went out on me. Your IT band is what connects your hip to your knee, and so when I say that went out, I mean that's intense pain. But I continued on, and I biked 92 miles on my right leg. Ironman Louisville is known to be the 5th toughest course because of the intensity of the bike course. It's 112 miles of hell. It just doesn't stop going up and down. And I did 92 miles of that with one leg. And when I got off the bike, I thought about it, and I had cried over a dozen times on the bike, not because of the pain, which was intense, but because of the journey. You know, you're riding on that bike for 7 hours. You got a lot of time to think. And you think about the journey that you've come through. And the defining moment for me that day was I was into the bike chute. I was 1.5 miles out. And this is where I really learned a lot about myself, because I had a volunteer approach me. He was coming the opposite direction, trying to round up people on the bike course. He said, "Sir, you've got a minute, or you've got 1.5 miles to the chute, and you've got 7 minutes to get in there." Now, I could have sat back. I could have not conquered, and I could have stayed on that bike and just slowed down a little bit and, "Oh, hey, I'm sorry. I've been in pain for 92 miles. I'm not going to complete this." But that would have been failing backward, and that would not have been what my goals were. I had worked way too hard losing all this weight with all the support from everybody in the VAC community to let that happen. So I stood on that bike, and I gave it everything in the world that I could. And I came through that chute with 4 minutes to go, with my wife standing there pushing me through to the transition area, which is exactly what she knew I needed. I got off the bike and wanted to give her a kiss. She said, "No, you got to go. You've got to go." Folks, I got out under the run course. I had less than 1 minute to cross through that run course transition. I was the last person on the course. The cop was following me for a half marathon until they pulled me from the race. But there was not going to be any stop, and that's exactly what we have with Visalis and the ViLife. This isn't something that we're going to do for, a short period of time and say, "Oh, it didn't work for me, thanks, bye-bye." This truly, what Kathy said, it's a lifestyle, because you're not going to give up on yourself the rest of your life.
Dave, that was incredible. I remember watching the updates that Sharinda would be posting throughout the day, and seeing, you get that far. You just kept pushing and pushing and pushing, and that is what failing forward is all about. Dave, thank you, and hats off to you on your journey. I know you're training again here pretty soon for, I think, next year. Is that about right?
It'll be 2017. We're shooting for equity before we go back to it.
All right, my brother. Well, we got 2 more guests, and I want to make sure we have enough time for them. We'll come back, Dave, hopefully soon. Amanda, are you there?
I am here, Kelvin.
Amanda, what's up, girl?
Not much. I'm here.
I want you to go ahead and share your story, and I have a question for you right after that. So go ahead.
I would love to share my story. My name is Amanda Hoffmann. I'm from Long Island, New York. I'm 23. I'm a single mom of 2 little boys. My story starts in high school. I've been heavy just about my entire life. I got pregnant right after high school, gained a whole lot of baby weight, had my first son, and lost absolutely none of it. Gained even more, got pregnant with my second child, and gained a whole lot more. My second child ended up being born with a severe congenital heart defect. He was literally born with half a heart. Still has half a heart, but he's doing very well now. Had a lot of issues with depression, PTSD, sitting there in the hospital watching him in pain, hurting. ended up tipping the scales at over 300 pounds, at just over 5'3". So, yeah, ended up quite large. Was introduced to the challenge a few months after my son was born, once we got home and settled from the hospital. It was to the point where I had let myself get so big that I didn't want to get out of bed in the morning. The only thing that kept me going was my kids. They were the only thing that made me actually get up out of bed and move. But wasn't really supported when I first started the challenge. Did shake here and there, like Kathy said earlier. And then once I committed and tried to start exercising as much as I could, just walking the neighborhood, weight started melting off. I joined the gym full-time just over a year now on ViSalus, just over 2 years now, just had my 2-year anniversary. And I'm down over 130 pounds, between 130 and 140 right now. I don't have an exact starting number. I stopped looking at the scale when it hit 300. So God knows what it really got up to, but it's at least 130 pounds down as of right now.
Wow, Amanda. I mean, I've been looking at your before and after photos, and they're amazing. And I know every time I share a photo, a lot of people are thinking it's Photoshopped or something. And
that's
one
of my favorites. That can't be her.
Yeah?
That can't be her. It can't be the same person.
Yes, and I think we've all gotten that response from a lot of people in our journeys. And one thing I've always, when I discovered you, I should say, was I saw you took a lot of selfies and pictures and like of your progress, and you always get excited on Transformation Tuesday to post a new update, and it's kind of cool to see like your excitement every single time you look at your pictures. How important have pictures been during your journey, and can you talk a little bit about failing forward a little bit with that process?
Yes, of course. Transformation Tuesday, of course, is my favorite day. I tell all of my ViSalus and now my boot camp class, shout out to Tracy, Desiree, all my boot campers, how important taking all those selfies are, because they do help you track progress. And you may think that you're failing, and then you look back, you do the side-by-side, even just a week or 2 weeks difference, the scale doesn't move, but you see the difference so much easily in pictures. Your mind may not recognize it when you look in the mirror. You may go, oh, my arms are still flabby, this is not toned enough, I mean, I don't look any tinier. But when you put those side-by-sides together, it's phenomenal. You don't even realize how far you've come until you do something like that. The scale's not always the best indicator of success. I mean, there's tons of people that try to shoot for numbers and stuff. I do sometimes. I'm trying to shoot for one specific number, which would be half of my starting body weight loss, which would be approximately 150 pounds. But that's the only number I'm really shooting for, but it's really not a good indicator of success. Taking pictures, taking measurements is so much more effective, and when you think you're failing, just doing something as simple as that can show you how far you've actually come.
Thank you
that's
so much, Amanda.
One of the biggest thing I tell everyone, don't be selfie shameful. Take as many as you need to, a whole bunch of different angles.
And that you do, my friend. That you do, my friend. And it keeps inspiring a lot of people.
Of it.
That's right. That's right. Well, Amanda, we'll hopefully get back to you in a minute. Here, I want to now introduce one of my big, I call him my big bro, in ViSalus. He was one of the people that inspired me along my journey, and that is Mr. Pat Ryan. Pat, are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, Pat, you are a fellow Body by By active champion, and we want to hear your little bit of your story, and then I have a question for you.
All right. Well, my story started 4 years ago when I started with Vi. I just passed my 4-year anniversary this month. I was 430 pounds, had a blood pressure over 170 over 90, and I was dying. I was a professional failure. everything I did seemed to just not work, and it didn't matter what I did or how hard I worked, it never went. So I kind of just gave up, and I went to the doctor one day, and he told me that I was a walking heart attack. I needed to do something about it. And it's just ironic that there was this skinny guy bugging me about this shake that tastes like cake mix for 9 months, and I told him no in every way possible, many of them not nice. But I kept saying no because I didn't want to admit to myself where I was. When the doctor told me that, I'm sitting there with my little guy, I had to realize that I've got 3 kids at this point in time, 4 now, and I better do something about it. I'm going to die. I'm not going to see them grow up. So I called the guy. I said, let me get on these shakes. Let me see what I can do. I got them. I love them. They taste like cake, just like you said. Butterfinger was mine too, Dave. Absolutely amazing. 15 pounds in 3 weeks, 56 pounds in the first 90 days. And no exercise. All I did was stop a really bad breakfast and lunch, and I replaced them with shake. And I was like, whoa, what's going on here? I kind of coasted through challenge number 2. Challenge number 3, I was getting close to the 100-pound club, and I was in Miami for Vitality in 2012. And I walked for 8 miles with a garbage bag on to hit the 100-pound club because I wanted to go up on stage. I had my daughter with me, my wife, had some of my team there, and I wanted to inspire them. And they called 3 people on stage to go up for the 100-pound club. Now they call everybody up. But back then I was all pumped up. I'm in the arena. I'm standing up. I'm ready to run to the stage, and they didn't call my name. Talk about failure. I'd lost 100 pounds, but to me, I had failed because I brought these people to inspire them. And I left. I walked out of the building. I said, I'm out of here. Let's go. And my daughter's 13 at the time, and she was with me. And she said, Dad, what do you mean? You're quitting? Like, what are you talking about? Are you just going to eat pizza and cheeseburgers and get fat again? And I looked at her. I'm like, what are you talking about? And then I realized that she was right. What do you mean quit? It was just a bump in the road. So that is what started to fuel my fire. And I decided to go as hard as I could and start to exercise. And I made a plan to a year from that point in time at Vitality 2013 to become a champion. And that's what I did. In the meantime, I lost 150 pounds. I built 25 pounds of muscle. I've got back into acting. I'm up to Toronto tomorrow for an audition for a commercial. My life has totally changed.
Pat, that was incredible. I know as a big follower of you on Facebook and everything, I see that you also work as an entertainer. And as someone who still works in that scene, how do you stay on track being around the late night fast food and also the free drinks I'm sure you get at the bar? Can you give us some pointers on how you've been able to fail forward in this environment?
I fail forward all the time, and that's the key, is I have to realize that sometimes it's just the way it is. For me, the biggest thing to do is set a goal and set a big, hairy, audacious goal. Write that down, BHAG, big, hairy, audacious goal. It's got to be something that you think about that scares you, that frightens you, that you don't even know how you're going to do. When I set that to become a champ, that's what scared me. And at that point in time for 90 days, no alcohol, no gluten, no sugar, no dairy. I didn't put anything in my body that wasn't good for me. And that was tough when you're working as an entertainer. I just learned to say no. Lately, I haven't said no a lot. Thank God I ride my bike 100 plus kilometers a week. I've been battling the bulge. But it's because I don't have a specific goal. I injured myself a little while ago. I had a goal to compete in the transformation division for WBFF, but I can't do that now with this hand injury, so I'm kind of sitting back right now and got a little depressed and had a couple of drinks and ate some bad food. That's what it leads to. So for me, the biggest thing, you got to set goals and you got to tell everybody about it and you got to post about it daily. If you don't see me posting daily, bust me on it.
Dave, Pat, I love what you said, BHAG, big, hairy, what was it? Big,
audacious goal.
Big, audacious goal. There you go. I make sure I wrote that down right. Definitely. And I love when you post. It always motivates me, make sure it gets me going. So I really appreciate that advice. And guys, as we're pretty much cutting it down to the wire, I had a question that I thought of earlier, and I wanted to each one of you just try to, in one sentence, this is a scenario. Think back during your journey to a time where you knew that you were facing a wall. Would there be an obstacle? And I know some of you guys, which ones of you guys, what situation it was, but just think back to that situation. And I want you to talk to yourself in that situation in 1 or 2 sentences to motivate you to keep going. So, Kathy, take it away.
I could think back to late summer a year ago where I probably had gained about 13 or so pounds back, and I just had that gut feeling this is going back to where things had gone in the past. And I wish I could think of what the moment was. I just know I saw a picture of myself, and I saw that face rounding out some more, and I just said, hell no, I've worked too hard, I feel too good, and I'm not going back. And I just recommitted to the exercise and promising myself to have a shake every morning. Even if I wanted junk food, I had the shake first. And about 5 times in the last year, what I say, after having a shake, I still went and got that snack. I promised myself I could, but I didn't because the shake really did the trick.
That's amazing, Kathy. Dave?
Very, very easy. I would remember Les Brown's words. If you can land on your back and you can speed up, get up and go.
Get up and go. I love it. Amanda?
My biggest thing, failing forward, when I feel like I'm failing, I just keep posting because there's those people that it's me that's changing their life. And if they don't have me, God knows where they're going to get their motivation from. I need to keep motivating. If I can save one person's life the way that one person saved mine, my life is worthwhile.
Boom. Love it. Wow. That just gave me chills. Pat?
May 16th, 2013, I got hit by a van riding my bicycle 3 days after doing my photo shoot to try to become a champion. I knew I was going to be a champion. I knew that I couldn't quit. There was nothing I could do. I had a cast on my hand. I went to the gym. I worked out on my legs. I rode my bike, and I kept going because I wanted to be the best representation for the challenge I could be when I had my pictures taken for the magazines. It was a pure selfish goal, but I didn't quit. And that word, don't quit, the first 2 and the last 2 letters, do it. Not don't quit, do it. That's what you got to remember.
Like Shia LaBeouf, do it. From Nike. All right, Pat, that was awesome. I just wrote that. Don't quit and do it. I love it. Man, you guys are amazing tonight. I don't have any more I could probably add to this, except for my own, I guess, sharing my own failures and failing forward. Guys, you've heard some amazing people talk about, single moms, single parents, a woman who didn't even realize how bad she had been hurting herself and with her health, and got to her 50s and now is starting to live a quality of life she hadn't experienced in many years. Even after loss of a loved one, she's continued to go forward and push forward and prove to herself that she's able to do this on her own and inspire other people as well. You've heard from a person who did an Ironman, for peace sake. And I know for those of you who don't run, you have no clue what that is. But let me tell you, doing that type of race, I did a Tough Mudder with just 13 miles, and I still haven't fully recovered from that. I just can't believe what Dave was able to pull off. And even though he pushed all the way to the end and he wasn't able to finish, he crossed a huge finish line in his head, and that was not quitting. And sometimes, guys, about failing forward is about getting up and just keep going and going and going and going. Eventually, you will succeed as you keep going and going. You never stop. And then we heard from Pat, an athlete, entertainer, an actor who found himself in a situation where he needed to make a change, and he finally accepted it, the challenge, and now it's part of a lifestyle that keeps him going and maintaining his regardless of his ups and downs. And guys, that's what I truly relate to the most in my story, because in my story, it was my daughter, the reason I did it at the beginning. I did it for her. I would get up every morning and I said, I want to be your hero. I'm going to be there next time you fall. And every single day, that was my motivation. Even though I couldn't barely wake up at 4:30 in the morning every day, I got up. And I did this for several months. I finally set a big, hairy, audacious goal of doing Tough Mudder, and I was able to accomplish that, and that was an incredible feeling. And then after that, someone challenged me to become a Body by Bite champion. I said no. So for 3-4 months, I never submitted. Finally, I said, let me just put it in. And a few months later, I'm on stage in front of 10,000 people in Louisville, Kentucky, cheering my name and not even being believe that I was on stage. From being on the couch, feeling like a failure on the floor, to being on stage as a champion. But as in every good story, there's always the highs and the lows. And after that victory, a lot of things started happening outside of my life. And I didn't adjust to change. I tried to do the same thing over and over again, expecting the same results. And as things were changing around me, my mindset started changing. I didn't have any more big, hairy, audacious goals. And I noticed when I started slipping. I was able to maintain my weight loss for over a year and a half. And then when things started falling apart in my outside of my challenge life, and things started getting time consuming, I started realizing that I was losing steam. And little by little, over several months, I started gaining weight. And I got to the point almost where Kathy was, where it's like, man, you can't go any back. You can't go back. You have to keep going. But still, things were happening. I was letting things slide, and I realized that I found myself in the same mind state that I had when I was over 320 pounds. I wasn't at 320 pounds now, but I found myself in the same mind state, full of fear, full of anger and bitterness, and also not being able to forgive certain things and people that had happened in my life. And little by little, I started realizing I was getting in a darker place. So you know what I did? I actually rallied and started trying to forget about myself and started rallying all my 100-pound club members that had been probably struggling the same way as I did, and I started pushing us to become greater than we are as a collective. Along with other people that believed in me, that believed in my vision, we created TeamViHOPE. And it's been amazing. Since January, we have never missed 1 week of a Hope Call. And it's now September 1st, 9 months later, and we keep on going stronger and stronger. And let me tell you, without TeamViHOPE, I would not be talking to you on this phone right now. And I probably would have given up. Today is day 46 of my new 90-day challenge that I have, and it's the first challenge I do in 1 year. And I am back, and I feel great. And even though today I failed, I was doing so good, and something just got to me today, and I failed. And I went, and I bought some pizza, and I crashed it. Sorry, Amanda. I know that you're a pizza fanatic. I pounded that pizza, and I felt horrible afterwards. Like, I've almost wanted to throw up. I called my wife, and I admitted to her my failure, and she just said something that was so beautiful to me. She said, Kelvin, but I know that's something, you just have to get your mind right. I'm just going to pray for you that you just get your mind right, because I know you can do this. And that was it. I was on my way to visit a friend of mine that called me as a kind of like a 911 emergency. I went over to the house, and as I got inside the house, she shared with me about the struggles that she's been having with her husband. Her husband has the opposite problem that we all do. He's losing weight at a very rapid rate, and he hasn't felt good in weeks. And she had heard about the challenge through a friend of ours, her sister, and she wanted me to meet with him and kind of give him some encouragement. I was lost for words. I know that Visalis is more than weight loss. It's about nutrition as well. And all I could do was just talk about hope and give him tools. And we figured out his BMR, his BMI. We figured out how many calories he has to do to try to reverse this. He already had started on the core kit, and for the first time in like 2 to 3 weeks, he was able to actually stand up. I was blown away because the core kit includes something called a ViPack and has vitamins and cellular nutrition, and it was already helping him. So I gave him, I had a box of shakes in the car. I just went, I'm like, guess what? I'm just going to give you this bag of shakes. Start taking the dosage that I recommended him, and he was so excited. I could see it in his eyes. And we told him I'll follow up next Tuesday. As I left, I had realized that I had forgotten completely about my problem, that my failure that I had done earlier. So my biggest advice for you guys, when you do fail, stop thinking about yourself. Take the you out of it and look at someone else and see how you can help service someone else. And I think that was my favorite thing about Amanda's tip, was she knows that she is helping so many people out there that she has to keep going. So she posted another photo, and she keeps going. And guys, tonight I want you to understand something. My life is not 100%. I mean, I have the amazing support of my wife and my own family, but I struggle with a job that I'm a perfectionist, and I want to make sure I do my best. I struggle with balancing time with my kids and the yearning I have to be with them at home, and sometimes having to work 12, 13 hours like I did today and yesterday, and not being able to be there for them. And I struggle with the fact that, you know, there's a lot of people on my own team, my customers, that need my help, and I can't even write them an email to encourage them. And all I could do today was tell them, get on this call. And guys, when someone told me this a while back ago, and it made me, and I remembered it just before I hopped on this call, and it was, when everything seems to be going against you, you remember that airplanes take off against the wind, not with it. So tonight, guys, if you're struggling against the wind, I challenge you to, and if you have to fail, fail forward. Fail forward means is that you may fall, but you just get back up and keep going forward. You educate yourself and you learn from your mistakes, or if you don't have a clue what to do, ask someone else that will help you to get up. And that's what TeamViHOPE is about. And guys, as I wrap up right now, I just want you to think about your own journey, wherever you've been, the times in your life that you have surpassed and overcome obstacles in your life, and know that that was just a moment to get you stronger to face whatever it is that you're facing now. So I want you to get to the person that invited you on this call tonight and share with them your failures, and then let them know that you want their help and you want to succeed and you want to keep going. I promise you we'll be your biggest cheerleaders you've ever seen in your life. Guys, look for us on TeamViHOPE on Facebook and on YouTube. You can watch all our old recordings. And I just want to let you guys know that I love you all. Stay awesome. And this call is officially wrapped. Good night, everyone.
Woo. Awesome call. Love you all.
That was great.